nothing else happened, if I didn't get the part, I thought that was great. That was just really a great place to be this close to being Doctor Who. I thought that would be enough.
That would be enough.
Yeah.
And who do you know? You were the only one auditioning. That's so cruel. Let's go back to some questions. Ranjana McLean, who's actually here, hopefully. Ranjana? Are you here? Hello. Hi. This is Ranjana's question. I hope you do it justice. Peter, each regeneration of the Doctor has traces of previous Doctors. Now, as a huge fan of the show, you've been a fan your whole life. What traces of previous Doctors are you going to bring to your Doctor?
Good question. Well, there are moments where consciously we do touch upon some of the previous Doctors and then introduce some little things that are elements from them. But I think that, to be honest, because I was such a fan of the show and I was brought up with the show, I think specifically the first 4 Doctors kind of found their way into my DNA. And I think that even if I hadn't won the part of Doctor Who, there would still be a little bit of them in the kind of actor that I am. I think they sort of made me, rather than going to RADA and being taught how to act properly, I was sort of taught at the school of Doctor Who. So that introduced a certain kind of eye-boggling, eyebrow work, all of that sort of stuff, being a bit big, being a bit small, mouthfulness. I think all of these things which I liked, which all those Doctors had, I think they fed into me as an actor anyway. And I think probably if you look back at some of my earlier work, you'll see some of that with a lot of overacting.
Let's talk about the world tour, because you're just back in London for the final date of a huge world tour that's taken you to Brazil, to Seoul, to Mexico, and Andrew in Southampton, good evening Southampton, says it must have been amazing to see the reaction that you've received around the world during your world tour. So excluding your very passionate United Kingdom fans, which countries' fans have given you the best reception? Jenna.
I'd say the airport in South Korea was a real surprise. And also, I think maybe Brazil, I think Rio was probably the loudest.
When you talk about the airport, there's loads of people screaming and waving things at you, throwing teddies and stuff like that. Proper sort of style.
Yeah.
And how did that feel? Was it a rush? Was it terrifying?
No, it was just it was quite surreal, I suppose, and there was just so many people singing, but also just people really happy that you're there. So I think people making the effort and getting to the airports, and they've got so much artwork and banners and posters, and they're dressed up in costume, and they have songs, and it's just, we'd been in Cardiff for 8 months filming, and then just got straight on a plane and arrived there, so it was quite a shock for us, I think.
We were like to cut like the Beatles. But what was really amazing was to see the passion with which people felt so strongly about the show that they would come to airports and scream and shout, but also people tell you that the show is successful abroad. And the reason it's successful abroad is because of, Stephen and Jenna and Matt Smith and David Tennant and Christopher Eccleston and Russell T Davies and everybody who worked on the show. That's why it's successful abroad. So I came in at a good time. I got to ride the wave of all of that.
You don't ruin it.
No.
Were you given any unusual gifts on the tour by fans across the globe?
We received some lovely paintings of ourselves.
We got some sombreros.
Sombreros.
Stephen got a fez.
He got a fez.
You two got sombreros. I did not get a sombrero. I had to beg a fez from the audience for the photograph. That's what happened.
See, they're just putting you in your place. That's fantastic. 5 countries in 2 weeks after filming for 8 months. Would you recommend it? Was that fun?
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about the episode then, Deep Breath. We've seen your first episode after a year of secrecy and anticipation, Peter. What were the highlights of filming that episode for you? Loving the stunts, by the way. Nice stunt work.
I'm good at it. It's every day was a highlight for me. Obviously you can pick moments where you can say, the first time you step out of the TARDIS. All that stuff on the beach was on the very first day that we shot. And it is a little nerve-wracking because you get into You know, I'm sure I'm not spoiling anything to tell you that the TARDIS isn't actually visually inside. And it is just really a big, you know, it's really like just a big wardrobe that your dad's got you painted blue on the outside. And when you go inside and you shut the door, it's pitch black. But you're there with Jenna, who you don't really know very well. As well. And also a prop bloke who you've never met before in your life with a smoke gun. You guys will. And the smoke gun's firing away. And then it just comes along and you've got to open the door and be Doctor Who. So that's a pretty special moment. Operating the TARDIS for the first time is very special. Again, slightly irritating when people keep telling you it's that switch, so it's that switch. And you're like, I know which switch to pull. Also, I mean, not in that episode, but the first time you have a scene with a Dalek.
Yes.
Amazing.
How was that?
Well, it's very weird because at first you think, well, I've seen the Daleks so many times before, and I really love them, and yeah, they don't frighten me, and they're, you know, they're icons. But then there's three people standing there. There's no Dalek. The first day I went to rehearse, I went to shoot the scene with the Dalek. There was no Dalek there. There was just a very gentle man called Barnaby. There's been a Dalek.
Barnaby here. Barnaby's here. Oh, he's not. No, exactly.
Barnaby's the chief Dalek.
Oh, is he?
Yes.
What a role.
But
What's
he's,
about?
no, I think he started at the top.
Right.
But he says to you, would you like to do the scene? And I'm thinking, well, there's no Dalek here. How can I do the scene? He said, if you look into my eyes are exactly the same height as the Dalek next door. So you could talk to me and do the scene. And it's now get Nick, who does the voice. He'll come and do the words. But Nick didn't have his Dalek microphone. He was just doing his voice. And then they introduced me to the other gentleman who operates the lights. And so we sort of did the scene with no Dalek, with them all doing it, I thought. And I was finding it really difficult not to laugh. But I thought, I'm the new guy here, so I'll behave myself. But then when they brought the prop in, when Barnaby climbed into it and vanished, when Nick went round the corner, switched on his microphone, and when the other gentleman started working the lights, I have to say I just thought, wow. I was really shocked by the power of it when you were sort of eye to eye with it. It was amazing.
The Dalek was there.
The Dalek was there. And then it bumped into a wall.